Welcome to Retro Video Playback and to episode 5 of Tape Talk Tuesday, an episodic video series where I showcase and discuss various movies on VHS. This episode, I'll be showcasing the hit action crime movie from 1995, Heat. A few weeks ago, I was laying out the weekly schedule for Tape Talk Tuesday. I knew I was going to do last week's movie and next week's movie, but I wanted to space them out due to their similarities. When looking at what movie I would do next, I just happened to settle on Heat, for no particular reason. Well, as fate would have it, I was reading up on Heat only to find that it was released on VHS in November 1996. Specifically, it was released November 12th, 1996, 28 years to the day of the release of this episode of Tape Talk Tuesday. You know, sometimes things just have a funny way of working themselves out. Known for its incredible bank heist and police shootout sequence, along with its fantastic storytelling, acting, cinematography, and sound design, as stated, Heat was first released on VHS in November 1996, nearly a full year after its original theatrical release in December 1995. Something I find quite interesting about this movie is that while Al Pacino and Robert De Niro both appeared in The Godfather Part 2 back in 1974, and have appeared in many movies together since, Heat marked the first time the two actors worked and appeared on screen together. Due to the movie's runtime, the original VHS release was a double tape. However, I also have it in a single tape version. Other than the clear size difference to accommodate the second tape in the one version, these copies of the VHS are identical, from the graphics on the sleeve, right down to the fine print on the back bottom, including the copyright year. The single difference between the tapes is a notice on the single tape version that reads, "This film has been modified as follows from its original version. It has been modified to fit your screen." However, when played, both versions of the movie appear the exact same. Other than that one minor noted addition, I'm having a hard time discerning what the difference is between these releases, like when the single tape release came out in comparison to the double tape release. I would presume it came out later when the movie could fit onto one tape, but I would expect to see an updated copyright year or some sort of indicator on the packaging, but there's absolutely nothing. Some things were just meant to remain a mystery, I suppose. The front cover features a collage of our three primary characters. In the top left is Al Pacino as the tenacious police lieutenant Vincent Hanna. To the top right is Robert De Niro as heist mastermind Neil McCauley, and in the center is Val Kilmer as Chris Shiarlis, the devoted member of McCauley's tight-knit group. Just an aside, I read the book Heat 2, a sequel to this movie that was just released in 2022, and in that book, Chris Shiarlis is the primary character, and I swear, for all 470 pages, I was questioning my pronunciation of Shiarlis. At this very moment, I'm not confident that I'm saying it correctly. Back to the VHS. In the bottom half is a nighttime shot of a gray and blue hue of a railway line. Below it reads, "A Michael Mann film, Heat, a Los Angeles crime saga." I always wonder with inclusions like this if it's a means of quickly telling anyone who may be unfamiliar with the movie what exactly it might be. I can just imagine someone who has no idea what Heat is, looking at this cover and reading this line, and it alone deciding whether a person will watch it or not. The spines of the sleeve have a WB logo, our three main actors' names, the title of the movie, a smaller version of the picture from the front cover, and then a smattering of icons and logos. I'll say again that I really enjoy these larger double tapes that allow you to see so much more on the spines. Like the front cover, the back side of the sleeves has an even distribution of character presence, with Hannah aiming a pistol in the top left, Chris and Charlene to the top right, and McCauley in the center right also aiming a pistol. There's a quote from Richard Schickel of Time magazine that reads, "Awesome, truly epic, a masterpiece, wholly original." We then get a plot summary, followed by production credits, logos, copyright information, and a rating. Rated R for violence and language. There's also an 18A rating sticker, which, if you didn't know, is a Canadian rating for 18 accompaniment, meaning anyone under 18 years of age can view the movie if with an adult. My double tape copy is a former Blockbuster rental featuring the familiar bright blue stickers across each tape's left reel windows. I actually really like having a mix of conditions of the movies in my collection. While I appreciate a mint condition or sealed tape, I equally appreciate a tape that shows its history through the stickers, which sometimes include unique local rental stores, and the edgeware of the sleeve. But don't get me wrong, I do not enjoy a movie that is too worn, with a grimy finish, torn sleeve, and topped off with a rancid smell of cigarette smoke. For the uninitiated, at Blockbuster stores with new release movies, they would typically get numerous copies of a movie. We're talking a full wall of them, maybe 30, 40. At my local Blockbuster locations, it was enough to fill an entire section of shelving floor to ceiling. Naturally, as time passed and the demand for these movies reduced, Blockbuster no longer had the need for so many copies of the same movie, and not to mention they had to free up valuable store real estate for the next big new releases. As a result, to offload the copies of the movies that they no longer needed, Blockbuster would sell the used copies of the movies in their stores, moving from being a rental to being in someone's personal collection, and in this particular movie's case, eventually being donated and bought by a new owner at a thrift store. Interestingly, neither tape in this double tape version has an identifier of tape 1 or 2 on their labels. Tape 1 starts out with various movie trailers before making its way through the obligatory warning against duplication, etc., and then moving into the feature presentation. The opening sequence of Macaulay stealing the ambulance is in widescreen, and as it moves to the scene that introduces Shareless as he purchases explosives, it shifts to full screen. This subtle shift appears to be unique to the VHS, as more modern formats of the movie are in widescreen for the entirety of the movie. The tape ends with the famous scene of Hannah and Macaulay meeting at the diner. I can just imagine watching this movie for the first time on this double tape set, the excitement of the screen turning black as their conversation ends and rushing to put in tape 2 to see what happens next. The second tape, of course, picks the movie right back up, and just a few minutes in, we arrive at the amazing bank heist turned police shootout and chase scene. The rest of the movie plays out as normal, credits roll, the screen turns to black, and there are no additional sequences at the end of the tape. The single tape version of the movie starts out with a single movie trailer, the duplication warning, and then jumps right into the movie. The movie plays identically to the double tape version with no apparent difference in quality or playback other than switching tapes halfway through the movie. And like the one before it, the movie ends with no extras after it. The tape stops, and I hit rewind. Heat was released 29 years ago, and since then it's been released on various home media formats, including on 4K UHD in 2022. I've said on previous episodes of Tape Talk Tuesday that certain movies are preferable on VHS, but in this case, Heat is amazing on modern TVs in 4K and with a proper sound system. Any movie maintains a certain level of charm on VHS, and I'm sure that at the time of its release, Heat was a perfectly enjoyable watch on VHS. But a movie like this really benefits from the higher quality picture and sound. Incredibly, I didn't watch Heat for the first time until 2021, but I've since seen it 6 times, so it's a semi-regular rewatch for me. I don't think these tapes will be getting rewatched, but I do sure enjoy the way they look on the shelves. With that, we find ourselves at the end of our discussion of Heat on VHS, and the end of episode 5 of Tape Talk Tuesday. How do you feel about Heat on VHS? Would you agree that it's a better watch in higher resolution format, or do you still prefer it on VHS? Thanks for watching Retro Video Playback.